Okay. I think so. Okay, from the top.
Sorry?
From the top.
Okay, cool. Christina, we all set?
All set.
You are not your work. You are not your work. You are not your work. Act 1. A dimly lit stage filled with the jumble of abandoned thoughts and empty bottles. And off is where you can fuck. Enter stage left, Catherine fucking Hepburn. Hi, Maureen. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it must have been on mute. Yes, all day. And yesterday as well. Oh, you know how it is when I'm in the zone and don't want to be disturbed. What have I got written? Oh, loads. Can I send you something? Yes, of course I am very well aware that we go up in 3 months. No, there's really no need to come over. But look, how about you say you call me back in 50 and we'll talk further, eh? Good. Great. Until then, yes, I know, don't forget to write. Come on, Dave, pull yourself together. You haven't written anything half decent since. Now, I'm not saying that isn't a proper excuse, but you've got to start somewhere. So, what do you think? You and me together again one more time? That's the spirit. You are not your work. You are not your work. A dimly lit stage filled with abandoned thoughts and empty bottles. Enter stage left, Catherine fucking Hepburn saying...
Light change.
All the world's a stage, or so they say. Each woman in her time doubling many parts, and though her lines seem often writ by another's pen, the billing is still hers to command. Walk-on, understudy, supporting actress, romantic lead, star. It was November 1983. Spencer's wife Louise had finally taken the hint and had the good manners to die, thus allowing me to mourn in public for the first time. A Sunday night television premiere in association with our friends at Calico Cigarettes, no less. Because you know, Johnny, I've been alone now for nigh on 20 years. Yes, that is one hell of a long time to have to wait patiently to be reunited with the love of one's life. Unfortunately, of course, these are the very two things that I do not believe in. The existence of heaven and being patient. Thoughts? My, that is a lot of consonants. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we have a vowel.
Who are you?
Well, now there, as they say, is the rub. I'm Catherine fucking Hepburn, but my friends call me Kate.
Oh, Kate. Catherine. Miss Hepburn. I am...
It's not important. Oh, do relax. I'm merely joshing with you. Please, do go on, Mr.
Ellen June. David Ellen June.
You're the writer.
I dabble somewhat.
Why?
Right?
Dabble somewhat. Life is not a diet to stick to, young man. One must either indulge or abstain. And who, pray tell, is this fellow?
Oh, that's Walter. Walter White. He's a reference to... never mind.
Yes, well, I suppose I've worked with less.
Yes, I'm sure you have.
I was talking to Walter.
Look, I'm sorry, I'm having a bit of trouble processing. I mean, this is all a dream, right?
You tell me.
Yeah, that's got to be it. Leslie was probably right. I probably shouldn't mix my pain pills with my Red Bull and, whiskey. Wow, what the fuck do you think you're doing?
I would have thought it was plainly obvious. I'm finding out whether or not this is a dream. For, how does it go? One cannot die in one's own dream.
No, I'm pretty sure it's if you die in your own dream, you die in real life.
Are you certain?
Not entirely, but personally, I'd rather not be the one to test the theory.
Oh, well, pity. That's disappointing. Bang!
That is seriously not funny.
Oh, do try to grow a pair, Mr. Ellendoon. It's only a lighter. Or, well, at least it was when it worked. Which, truth be told, Marilyn, was not very often.
Why do you carry around a fake gun?
Because the theater world is full of crazies. Why are you looking at me like that?
Like what?
Like this.
Because you're not exactly how I imagined you'd be.
Oh, really? And how exactly did you imagine that I would be?
I don't know, more, no, less,
Oh, please do take your time.
you. I mean to say, if this isn't all a dream, then what are you, a ghost?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, for you, Miss Hepburn, are an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of underdone potato. Yes, there is more of gravy than the grave about you, whatever you are.
Christmas Carol.
There's hope for the boy yet, Spencer. Shall I tell you a secret? My favorite version is the one with Miss Piggy. Now, there was a diva, always hogging the spotlight. Oh, for like many Kermit, when I started out on the road to Hollywood, I did not have any real ambition to act. I just wanted to be famous, a star shining brightly in the firmament, obscuring all others with my luminescence. Because, of course, you see, when a star is first handed a script, they decide how to change themselves to fit the role. No, they decide how to change the role to fit themselves. Whereas when an actor first auditions for a role, oh, they endlessly fret over how to change themselves to fit the part. I suppose in a way, it's not unlike when a boxer is matched against a fighter. The former must score jab after jab after jab, merely just to register, whereas the latter only has to land one big blow for a knockout to be declared. For, do not be mistaken, this is all very much an egocentric profession, perfect for stupid people who like to pretend that they're not stupid, but alas, never really knowing whether they're quite lucky or whether they're any good or just plain lucky. So, keep your chin up, your stomach in, your tits out, your friends close, your enemies closer, but your allies closest of all. For our friends, you see, they'll always be our friends, and our enemies' enemies, but our allies, well, they're fickle creatures whose favor swings ever so with the prevailing winds.
Can I ask you a question?
You can ask, however, there's one condition.
Which is?
You must promise not to be defensive.
Shields disengaged.
Please, do not. If I have to listen to one more writer expound about how the Wrath of Khan is basically just Moby Dick in space, you know, with Kirk taking on the role of the whale, well, let us merely say, I will not be held accountable for my actions.
Duly noted.
Good. Now, where were we? Ah, yes, right. Two of my favorite words, feed and back. Because, to be perfectly honest with you, Mr. Ellendoon, I'm still not completely sold on the opening.
The Shakespeare monologue?
No, that bit's mostly fine.
Oh, great, because mostly fine was exactly what I was going for.
And now you're already being defensive.
I am not... Sorry, force of habit. What exactly is it that concerns you about the opening?
I suppose if I had to put my finger on it, it's the words.
Oh, any ones in particular?
Well, how about we start with November 1983.
Okay, what's wrong with that?
Gods below, you're a needy one. What, were you breastfed? For a long time, yes, I thought so. Virgo to boot, and English, of course. God, could you be any more anal?
And quickly circling back around to November 1983.
I suppose if we must. I don't know. It's merely that I'm finding it all, far too on the nose. It fails to give my character anywhere to go, to grow emotionally. Though, on the other hand, I suppose it does set up the structural convention of breaking the fourth wall, because would it not be most wonderful if all of a sudden I were to start conversing directly with the audience?
Yeah, like halfway through the second act or something. For none shall go through life untouched, unbroken. Each of us must endure the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, the only difference being that some wear our scars like smiles, while others are smiles like scars.
Bravo! No, really, that is quite good.
Oh, you think so?
Yes, of course. You still believing that there's going to be a second act.
Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Yes, they also say it makes the heart grow fonder.
Or forget.
Which, if one is lucky.
Would you want to, if given the choice?
Well, a long time ago, in a theater far away, I once worked with a stagehand, one of those once worked with a stagehand who'd been deployed as a spotter on a destroyer on the Atlantic convoys. One of those poor schmucks stuck way up high in the crow's nest, pitching back and forth in the wind and the rain, pair of binoculars permanently frozen to his eyes, frantically scanning the nearby surface for signs of back and forth for signs of periscopes. Anywho, this stagehand, Frank Hubbins, I think was his name, bald as a billiard ball. Why that comes to me now, I don't know. Anyhow, he told me the worst thing about his whole wartime experience was when a cargo ship did get torpedoed, not being able to stop to pick up survivors. Orders were you had to keep steaming on away from all those cries coming up from the depths of the darkness below. First in hope, then in pleading, and finally cursing your name until nothing. I asked him how he coped. He replied, you simply did what everyone did. You keep your mouth shut, your eyes open, and you thank your God that it was them and not you. Sometimes Frank said that after he'd get home late after a show and he'd be out walking his dog, he could hear them still out in the beyond, the wind and the rain. Some still hoping, some still pleading, and some still cursing his name. Do you believe in the existence of heaven?
Oh, I believe in something. What that is, God only knows.
And do you always attempt to deflect with humor?
Only when I am uncomfortable.
Well, which appears to be always. Note to self, I must endeavor to be more genial. Now, David. Line.
The existence of heaven.
Ah, yes. Do you want to believe?
Did you?
I am the one asking the question.
If I'm being completely honest.
Oh, please, don't bother on my account.
I mean, I often look around at the people who do believe, and I say to myself, you're the lucky ones. But then I think it's the certainty I envy, because I would probably also take being an atheist if it were proffered over being so,
Spineless?
I wouldn't have put it quite that way.
How about wishy-washy, then?
And welcome to the bitching hour.
Oh, who knows? Perhaps Epicurus was right after all.
Epi who?
Ancient Greek philosopher, son of Terrestre and Neocles.
Oh, that Epicurus.
He's the one that posed the infamous question, if God is all-knowing, all-loving, and all-powerful, why then does evil exist?
Rival gods.
Ha! Wrong answer. Sorry, wrong answer. In this game, only one god allowed.
The devil.
I'm afraid that falls under the category of other gods.
Well, then, I'm out.
Oh, don't be in such a hurry to fail. Well, perhaps you'd like to phone a friend.
Miss Hepburn, I am a writer. I have no friends.
Well, how about other writers?
Do you know what the collective noun is for a group of writers?
Alas, I do not.
It's because there isn't one.
You would have made an excellent joke with Dad with jokes like that.
Shame my genes sucked.
And how's the arthritis?
Opaque. So, what's your point, re the existence of evil? That God isn't all loving?
At least no more than you are.
But I'm no God.
Yet, to the characters who inhabit your little worlds, you're the closest thing. You decide who gets to live, to love, to die.
Name me one good story that doesn't have some sort of conflict at its heart.
The Very Hungry Caterpillar.
Yeah, that one definitely needs more cowbell.
Of course, there is some that insist that it's a religious parable, what with all that going into the chrysalis and coming out of butterfly, while there are others who demand it be banned because it lacks sufficient cultural diversity.
And what do you think?
I think it made $50 million.
Is there such a thing as mum jokes?
Where's the best place to hide something from your teenage son?
I don't know. Where is the best place to hide
In
something
the
from
dishwasher.
Oh.
Sorry, best I could do on short notice.
Did you want to?
Have a child?
Yeah.
Pardon me for a while, but no, not really. No, taking all things into consideration, I would have been a stupendously awful mother. Far, far too selfish. Not that that appears to have stopped many others of my sex from spreading their eggs, for I believe that I'm a much better mother in my imagination than I ever would have been in any other reality.
Do you believe in the multiverse?
Oh, no, God, no, I never said that. Though Howard did.
Howard? Howard who?
The duck. Who do you think? Hughes.
Sorry, of course. I forgot you knew him.
Oh, just exactly how much research about me have you done? Yes, I thought so. Anyhow, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, Howard once shared with me, there was this group of Nazi scientists who, having retro-engineered a UFO that had crashed in Italy in 1936, had theorized that the existence of multiple parallel universes was the only feasible explanation of how to sidestep the grandfather paradox and therefore achieve practical time travel. And that is supposedly why Howard allowed Nixon the use of that great big ship of his, global, as a CIA op to recover a Soviet submarine that went down at the Atlantic searching for a sunken U-boat that had been carrying the Nazi belle to Argentina at the end of the war. It's all there on the interweb if anyone cares to look.
Question.
Yes?
Is this the same Howard Hughes who locked himself away at the top of the Desert Inn in Las Vegas, watching Ice Station Zebra and an endless salute, naked, while existing solely on a diet of Hershey candy bars and 2% milk?
I do concede that there is often be a fine line between madness and genius.
More things in heaven and earth.
Quite. Though, let's be honest. It's not a strict matter of faith with you, though, is it?
Meaning?
Meaning, you're one of the lucky ones, one of the lucky few to have witnessed actual proof of the divine. Oh, come on, Mr. Allen Doom. Quid pro quo, I shared my spooky story.
Mine's not as spooky.
Well, now, that's a pity. I always did enjoy a good fright. That is, until I hit 50 and saw myself every morning in the mirror, without makeup. That slow, gradual decline, line by line, like witnessing a road crash at half speed. I'm sorry, your story.
It's more sad, but also in its way kind of happy. You know? You've no doubt heard my late wife Jane died of brain cancer.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
No need. It's not like it's your fault.
Well, there's a first for everything.
I warn you, it's a long one.
Should I fetch my hemorrhoid cushion?
Because to do it justice, I have to backtrack to 10 years before Jane's death. Her mother had just passed, and about a couple of months later, I stayed with her dad for a night or two at the old family house. Now, for those who know me, I'm either a vivid dreamer or else I don't dream at all. At this point in my life, I'd not been dreaming for the last 6 months, or at least none I could remember. Long story short, first night in Jane's brother's old room, I had this waking dream in which Jane's mum was standing at the foot of the bed. She said she was there so she could tell me to tell Jane everything was okay, and she was just hanging around a while to make sure Jane's dad was okay. So next day I told Jane all this on the phone, and she went, shit. And I went, what? And she replied, well, my brother and his wife both had the same dream in the same bed the night after Mum died. Yeah, I got goosebumps too. Anyway, fast forward 10 years and Jane is in a coma. I'd been called into the hospice by one of the nurses, as they said there'd been a change in her breathing and she wasn't likely to make it through the night. And the nurses said, even though it was the middle of December, I should keep the window open, as quite often a past loved one will come back to aid the soul's journey onwards. Sidebar, at this point in my life I didn't have an iPhone, so I was using my MP3 player to listen to music. And so come 3 a.m, my MP3 battery died and I hadn't brought a charger, so I used the YouTube on the room's TV, quickly searching for some of Jane's favourite music. Beautiful South, you probably haven't heard of them. But anyway, then all of a sudden, Jane sits bolt upright, reaching for something. Now, remembering what the nurse had said earlier, I asked, is it your mum, Jane? Has your mum come to take you away? And then, right as I said that, this advert comes on the YouTube station saying, listen to your mother. Typical Jane, dead mum or not, she wouldn't let anyone tell her what to do. Hung around for another week, finally waiting until I wasn't in the room to pass, and then after, when I briefly stopped off at home, on the way home to pick up my dog from my friend's house, I caught out of the corner of my eye the answering machine light flashing. On pressing the button, I heard an automated voice, one of those weird uncanny valley ones, saying but one word: goodbye. Other stuff followed, flashing lights and shit, but that's the biggie. The one which tells me there's something other than all this. Probably comes from being the second son of the second son.
I thought it was supposed to be the 7th.
Well, that's the economy for you.
And there's that deflection again.
Do you believe in the existence of aliens?
I know that Howard did.
I wasn't asking about Howard.
Well, all right, David. I'm afraid I'm going to have to change my opinion of you. You're not merely needy, you're also damn pushy too.
Coming from you, I'll take that as a compliment.
It wasn't meant as
Well,
that.
I'll take it anyway. And by the way, for the record, I'm a Virgo Leo cusp.
Oh, really? Damn. Then I suppose I'll have to fire another intern.
Aliens, belief in the existence thereof.
More than I believe in God, in the existence of God.
Why can't they be the same?
Lead on, Macduff.
I mean, because, was it the bloke who wrote 2001 A Space Odyssey said,
David Bowie?
No, that was Space Oddity. He died, by the way. Liver cancer, very sad. I cried. Felt sorry for Alan Rickman, though, dying the same day. Fuck me, why can't I remember anything these days? I mean, what is it about turning 50? Is it a lack of data storage or merely a retrieval issue? Anyway, not David Bowie said something about how any sufficiently advanced technology is practically indistinguishable from magic.
Then where are they? All these alien magician gods. Why hide behind curtains?
Have you ever heard of dark forest theory?
Something else you learned when you were busy not researching me?
Nice. But according to Wikipedia, come on, tell us 5G, don't fail me now. Dark forest theory is the conjecture that many alien civilizations exist throughout the universe, but that they are both silent and hostile, maintaining their undetectability for fear of being destroyed by another hostile and undetected civilization.
Well, is that not just peachy?
While others see it as just one more proof of us living in a computer simulation, like the double slit experiment, total solar eclipses, finite speed of light, the uncertainty principle, not to mention the incredible improbability of me winning the Fringe lottery so many times, my wife being fridged, and of course, Donald Trump becoming president.
Now I know you're making this shit up.
Season finale, baby. Season finale.
Well, what else have I missed since I died in... I can wait.
2004? No, wait. You said you'd wait.
Is that your final answer? I'm an actor, darling. We lie for a living.
2003?
Is that your final answer?
Yes. No. Oh, fuck it. Yes.
Give the monkey a banana.
Let me see. Your lot invaded Iraq again, and then you pulled out, and then Afghanistan, then you pulled out. Honestly, your military see more withdrawals than a Catholic honeymoon is dead.
Proud of yourself?
A little. Let me see, what else? There were major stock market crashes in 2007, 2008, 2015 and 2020, what with COVID.
COVID?
Like the Spanish flu, but with more hand sanitizer. Oh, and then 2022, due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Has anything good happened?
Oh. Barack Obama?
Who?
America's first black president.
Great!
Oh, and the Democrats once chose a woman as their candidate.
Really? Who?
Hillary Clinton.
Oh, and that's the year when Donald Trump was elected.
Yeah.
Figures. It's very hard, this writing thing.
Harder than Chuck Norris on Viagra.
Wherever do you get your ideas? Wherever do you writers get your ideas from?
Can you keep a secret?
That would be telling.
Have you ever seen the TV series Breaking Bad? No, of course you haven't. You being dead and all.
What was it about?
A chemistry teacher who, when he discovers he has terminal lung cancer, he decides to become a drug dealer in order to squirrel away enough money so his family can be financially comfortable after he's passed.
Sounds like there was a meth head in his madness.
Very good. Anyway, in Breaking Bad, they have this vacuum shop, which is like a front for an organization who criminals can contact when they have need of a new identity in a hurry. Sort of like witness protection, only without all the witnessing.
And what, pray tell, has this got to do with you getting ideas?
Well, it's kind of exactly the same, only except it is, or at least it was, an old Blockbuster shop in La Quinta, Palm Springs. Because if you knew who to ask, Bob, and what film to ask for, The Devil and Daniel Webster, well, neatly tucked away inside said DVD case would be the elevator pitch for your next play. Of course, in a world chock full of ideas, some are bound to be bad, some so bad they refuse to die. And this is where Croglin comes in.
This quiet little picturesque fellside farming village lays at the foot of the Pennines, through which a small river, Croglin Water, flows down the valley into the River Eden. Its current population consists of 198 humans, 5 dogs, 7 cats, and 1 ferret, are vastly outnumbered by the sheep that quietly graze the surrounding hills. Facilities include a post office, which opens 2 mornings a week, a bus that runs every other Thursday, a pub, the Robin Hood, which opens when Mike the landlord feels so inclined, a dilapidated single-level prefab wartime village hall, and a deconsecrated Norman church.
Sounds idyllic.
It is.
But what has that got to do with things?
In the aforementioned church's crypt, under the memorial plaque of a certain 17th century landed gentleman, there's an old stone staircase that leads to a giant subterranean cavern, and that's the secret location where all the world's ideas that are too bad to see the light of day are entombed.
Bullshit.
Yeah, you're right. But you've got to admit, it's a good start.
Bogey used to say, give them a good beginning, sweetheart, and a great ending, and they'll forgive you any old shit in between.
Not going to disagree.
Such good manners.
My mother taught me well.
Whereas mine taught me poker. Oh, endings, of course, can often be more difficult. Someone invariably has to die, even if it's just the rooster.
What's your favorite?
Rooster death?
Endings of the films you were in.
The Lion in Winter, I suppose.
Why?
Because everyone won, and everyone lost, but everyone loved.
Wasn't that the first film you did after,
Spencer died. Yes. And if it had not been for that, well, I do not need to tell you.
Would you have?
I was tempted, but it's not like I believed I was going to be joining Spencer in heaven.
More that there was nothing left to live for?
No, quite the contrary. There were plenty of distractions on offer. No, it was merely that what I'd had before seemed all-consuming, now felt meh. As if someone had turned down the volume on, well, everything. That's the thing about suicide. Most people think its origins are rooted in passion, whereas, sadly, it mostly boils down to indifference.
Would you have swapped roles with him?
Spencer? You mean if some god magician had offered me the choice?
Yeah.
No.
Why?
Because I could continue on without him, whereas he... Well, let's merely say that I do not think it would have ended well. He had no succession plan, you see.
And, hypothetically speaking, would you have gone to hell for him?
You mean like Orpheus rescuing Eurydice?
No, I mean actually taking his place.
If I had believed in hell, then yes, I suppose.
And even if you hadn't?
What are you driving at?
He was a devout Catholic.
I'd hardly say devout. But yes, Spence believed in the sanctity of the tabernacle and the Eucharist.
Catholics aren't allowed to commit suicide.
Go to hell, do not pass heaven, do not collect salvation.
Something like that.
For me, the ball in the box is the best analogy for grief.
I don't think I've heard that one.
I'm surprised. If you can imagine, grief is a big ball that is forever randomly bouncing around inside a box. On one of the inside walls of the box, there's a button that, when it's struck by the ball, causes massive pain. In the beginning, the ball is very big and therefore hits the button quite often. Over time, the ball shrinks and therefore strikes the button less frequently. But however small the ball gets relative to the side of the box, there always remains the chance that it will strike the button. And what about you? What's your favorite ending?
Oh, I'm with you. I always prefer unfinished stories, like The Thing, Doom Doom, or Butch Cassidy. But I guess the one which really sticks a landing for me is the original The Italian Job.
Go on.
It's about this group of British thieves led by a young Michael Caine. They go to Italy to rob the mafia of a coachload of gold. Anyway, to cut a long story short, they succeed, but right at the edge of the climax, their coach spins out of control and finishes up teetering precariously over the edge of this alpine cliff. Gold at one end of the bus, Caine and his mates precariously balanced at the other. So here's the dilemma. If they get off, they'll all be safe, but with no gold. But if they go for the gold, splat! Anyway, the film ends with our Michael attempting to unfuck the situation by turning to his fellow crims and saying, "Hang on, lads, I've got a plan." In a way, it's the perfect cliffhanger, unintended. What was your plan?
I already told you. To become famous.
And after that?
I had no plan. At least, not at the outset. For, I suppose, in truth, the hardest thing for me was not becoming famous, but rather learning how to live with fame. For there was me, Kate, and then there was her, Katharine fucking Hepburn. And some days I was Kate. And some days I was Katharine fucking Hepburn. And some days I was Kate pretending to be Katharine fucking Hepburn. And some days I was Katharine fucking Hepburn pretending to be Kate. It was all terribly confusing.
And one hell of a lot of fucking.
I agree. Not very ladylike. But in many ways, I'm not very much like a lady.
However, you did supposedly like the ladies.
Is that still a crime?
In some circles.
Well, I can tell you, back in my day, the height of the average studio starlet's ambition was to be admired by an American, courted by an Italian, married to an Englishman, and have a French lover. I, however, chose to walk a different path.
Which was?
To live my life like a man.
Why?
Because if you obey all the rules, you miss out on all the fun.
Don't men also have rules?
Yup, I sure do reckon them little women done got it mighty easy. I mean, all they has to do to make us men happy is to keep our stomachs full and a ball's empty. You know, apart from the monthly periods, the childbirth, the child rearing, endless cooking, cleaning, and once a fortnight maintenance sex. Oh, but let us not forget that ever since women done got liberated, we're now also expected to juggle home and work lives while fighting the patriarchy, remaining young, beautiful, and thin, with big boobs and an even bigger butt. But never too young, too beautiful, or too thin with, well, you get the idea, because society is always there, constantly reminding us that while we have to stand with our sisters, we also have to stand out, but, you know, not too much. And on top of it all, what do you think our prize is for plowing on through all this and finally reaching our early to mid-40s?
Vaginal dryness?
You know, David, I think this is the beginning of a terrible friendship.
Well, I'm just trying to be the man my dog thinks I am.
Rather than the idiot that your cat knows you are.
Cleverness is in the IQ of the beholder.
No.
Besides,
oh,
you only
sorry.
like me because I give you all the best lines.
Not all. What?
I was just thinking.
Oh, sorry, I fell apart here. That, of course, being the root of most of your problems.
I mean, what would you rather be, if you had the choice? Famous during your own lifetime or afterwards?
Cannot one be both?
Not in this game.
That is presuming the game continues on after one dies.
Yeah. I mean, why bother to play if it doesn't?
Because, my dear boy, a society grows great when old men plant trees in whose shade they shall never sit.
Personally, I've always liked the idea of replacing headstones with trees.
It would certainly go a long way to solving global warming. Oh yeah, okay. So whatever happened to that zombie rom-com that you were writing?
Oh, Eat Cute.
Yes, that's the one.
Pretty much undead on arrival.
And the werewolf western.
Good old High Moon. Oh.
And what about the Jesus play?
Abandon hope, all ye who enter here.
Oh, pity. Had high hopes for that one.
Me too.
Then what's stopping you from finishing it?
How long have you got?
Oh, come on, David. Pilot's wife. You know, we both know she's the second greatest tale that has not yet been told. The real power behind the scenes. Have nothing to do with that righteous man, for last night I suffered greatly in a dream because of him. Matthew 27, verses 15 to 19. Benefits of over 30 years living in sin with a devout Catholic.
Be gentle. It's still a work in progress.
Technically, everything, Mr. Ellendern, is a work in progress. Technically speaking, Augustus was the first god I met, face-to-face homo ad deum. My husband, having served as a young man on the German frontier as an adjutant to the emperor's son Tiberius, I had the honor of being introduced fleetingly at the state banquet honoring his safe return. Of Augustus, I recall little. And even though logic dictates that I know that he was already by that point old of face, bent of back, and dribbling of mouth, the image of him that I see when I close my eyes remains ever fixed, an immutable facsimile of one of his myriad of statues. What I distinctly remember, however, though, is they served us figs and salt. Tonight we shall dine as our brave legionnaires. The wine, though, was definitely of a much better vintage. Nevertheless, it is of Augustus and his divinity that I must not stray, for one of eastern provinces again. I forget which one, having a long and torrid history of gods, kings, had of recent humbly requested consular permission to erect a temple to him within their capital. Well, needless to say, after a much feigned discussion, and the Senate officially begging Augustus 3 times to accept, quietly assuring that his ascension to heavens was but a mere matter of political expedience. However, everyone knew that a dangerous river was about to be crossed. For although we had made men into gods before, none while warm. Not terrible.
Really?
Yes, you know, for a work in progress. It's funny, Spencer always thought that Judas spiked the drinks at the Last Supper.
I'm sorry?
Oh, you must remember how in the Garden of Gethsemane, everyone was struggling to stay awake except for the 2 people who had not partaketh of the wine, Jesus and Judas.
Huh. You learn something new every day.
The problem is, you also forget 6 other things.
Preach. Did he struggle with his faith?
I imagine so. He hung himself after all.
No, not Judas. Spencer.
Oh, God, yes, every day. Primarily over the fact that his son was born deaf. Of course, all the drinking and adultery probably didn't help matters.
Yeah, how come no one tells you when you're a child how hard relationships are going to be?
Exactly. It's all glass slippers, slow moonlight dances, and happily ever afters.
I reckon most times you're better off just having a wank and a bag of crisps.
Anywho, despite Spencer's many indiscreet discretions, he and Louise chose to remain eternally wedded to both each other and their precious church.
I guess to me, faith's more an emotion than a choice.
You mean like falling in love?
Or out of love.
Oh, no. That one is definitely a choice. Because you see, by the time a woman leaves a man, she's already checked out in her head months before. But to the man, it's like this great big lightning bolt from the blue. On the wait, lightning bolt from the blue. On the way to my prom, my father told me that we each get 3 great loves in our lives, first, last, and the one. But what with him fancying himself as a bit of an amateur mathematician, God, how those equations used to drive my mother mad. Anyhow, he then, of course, had to attempt to explain it to me further with one of those diagram things. You know, the ones with all the circles that sometimes overlap and sometimes do not overlap. But as with most things in life, 40% of this is probably truth, 40% lies, and 30% bad math.
Do you think you get to choose which circle you get to be with in heaven?
I think
Yes.
that I'm pretty much done with 50 questions.
Oh, come on. What actor doesn't want to speak about themselves? I mean, it's like you've all got these great big magnets sewn into your chest that pull you inexorably down stage center. Consider it character research. I promise you we're almost done.
And how do I know you're not lying?
Because, Miss Hepburn, I'm a writer. We may steal, but we do not lie.
Have you got your fingers crossed behind your back?
Possibly.
Okay, a couple more questions.
Do you think you get to choose which of your past loves you get to be with in heaven?
Fortunately, I do not believe in heaven.
Do you think it's all our fault? All this is our fault, that we somehow manifest the bad things that happen in our lives into being?
There's certainly a lot to be said for a positive attitude.
What's worse for you, physical or emotional cheating?
Emotional. And for you?
Physical, yeah. We're probably more like pack animals, men. More like dogs.
Always searching for the next leg to hump.
I was being semi-serious.
So was I.
Well then, the way I see it, for the most part, we men don't really care where we lay in the pack's pecking order, just so long as we're included.
So, come on then, David Attenborough. Do not keep us all in suspense. What are we women?
Not dogs, not dogs. Definitely not dogs. No, you lot are far more like,
Tread carefully, my friend.
cats.
Okay.
Enigmatic, solitary creatures, incredibly beautiful to look at, but completely rubbish at driving tanks.
I believe I'm beginning to see the flaw in your argument.
Okay, well then why do you think men still rule the world?
Because you feel less guilt.
Ouch.
It's also a poorly disguised information dump.
What is?
November 1983. I'd been alone now for nigh on 20 years. Blah, 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 blah.
Okay. No vulnerability and or poorly disguised information dumps right off the top.
And just remind me again, what was meant to happen next in your magnum opus?
You have the big Sunday night television interview.
So, just a lot of talking then.
Yeah.
With no big twist.
No.
Pulitzer Prize, here we come.
Although I have been thinking about giving you a beautiful but highly ambitious young female assistant.
A bit all about Eve, don't you think?
What's wrong with that?
Nothing as such, but I mean, why go to the trouble of adding yet more characters when we're all merely variations of you?
So we can be in the now rather than the then.
And have some conflict.
Hopefully.
But no twist.
Christ, Catherine, there doesn't always have to be a twist.
I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
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 Fine.
Good.
Great.
Fantastic.
My favorite.
And who are you thinking of playing me?
Have you heard of Christina Patterson?
Doesn't ring a bell. Oh. Sorry, I don't know what I just did. Is this her?
No, that's Leslie, my fiance.
Well, perhaps she can play me. She's pretty.
And kind, and wonderful, and passionate, and very annoying at times.
Scorpio.
Uh-huh.
Sounds perfect.
It is.
And what about the role of the television interviewer?
A lack of decent men is always an issue.
Tell me about it.
Oh, where are you going?
I don't know. Somewhere else.
Why?
Because you don't need me anymore.
Well, it's not a question of need.
It never was.
Are you sure?
Every relationship ends with one person having to leave the other.
Jane,
Yes, David?
goodbye. Fuck me, she was right. Endings are hard.
Ring, ring.
Hi. Maureen. Yes, I've been doing lots of, no, there's nothing actually written as such, but yes, I know we go up in 3 months. But wait, hang on, I think I've got a plan. How about, instead of the play focusing on a November 1983 interview, what if instead the ghost of what we initially believed to be Katharine Hepburn?
And to black. And applause. So I think it would be Jared first and then...
For the applause part?
Yeah.